Welcome to Tuesdays with Terry. We're excited. We are on episode 22, and we are making a little bit of a shift today and talking about technology and data. So my first guest, Thad, it's great to have you on the show today.
Great to be here.
Yeah, and one of the things that you do for us here at Aquinas is institutional research or institutional data. There's an analyst piece to it as well. Kind of like what, in that role, what excites you? Like what's like energizing around data and reports and things like that?
The one-word answer would be spreadsheets.
Okay, fair, yeah.
Turns out I love spreadsheets. I did not know that going into this, but I started in 2011 in a role kind of like this that eventually morphed into what this is, and so I work in spreadsheets every day. I've usually got many open at a time, and I love having all the cells and the numbers, do formulas.
Yeah, and you can tell, like, even in our conversation, like, you're excited about this.
Yeah. I hear people complain about it sometimes, and I think, well, that's too bad. You don't like spreadsheets, but at least, some of us do.
Oh, absolutely. So you mentioned since, like, the role has evolved since 2011. Kind of tell us a little bit about what brought you to Aquinas. Like, what was your path that brought you here?
We'll have to go back before 2011 for that.
Let's go back.
I graduated from college with a bachelor's degree in philosophy in 1995.
Okay.
And then I worked at my college, Wheaton College, for a couple years in the physical plant there.
Okay.
In 1997, I was looking for a change, and my sister was going to Calvin at the time, and so I moved to Grand Rapids she had an opening at her apartment she was living in, and so I came to Grand Rapids with a bachelor's degree in philosophy and experience working in a college physical plant. So I was looking for work and reached out to all the colleges around. Yeah. And at the time, Doug Greenslate was the baseball coach and the director of housekeeping, and he hired me in 98. I want to say the Ides of March of 1998 roughly was my first day. And so from 98 until 2011, I worked in the physical plant. Yeah. At Aquinas College. And then in 2011, I took a role called the Director of Instructional Services, which had recently been held by Brian Metke. But in that role, I reported college data to the Provost. I managed adjunct and overload contracts and course evaluations.
Okay.
And so, I guess, I made the switch because I was ready for something more career-oriented, I guess. Yeah. I had started out in the physical plant, and I enjoyed my job there, and I've got, friends in the physical plant still, and I feel some connection to that work still. But in the interest of getting a more kind of career-oriented job, I was just kind of waiting for a job to open up that I was qualified for with a bachelor's degree in philosophy, and that was the role for me. And
and it sounds like, things have evolved, as you mentioned earlier, and it's really, as Provost, I'm very thankful, and I know we as an office are, for your work that helps us, because it could be something that's a standard report, or it's something like, hey, Thad, what about this? Or do we have anything on this? And it seems, I appreciate so much you're always willing to just dive in and try to figure it out. And I know after this taping, I have another request for you that's kind of a creative one.
Oh, good.
And, one of the things, too, about, I think that our viewers know as well, is you're a man of many talents. And one of the things is a little self-promotion for you coming up. So homecoming weekend, there is a performance, right? That's 3 o'clock, is that correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Yep. 3 o'clock under the tent.
Yeah.
Kind of, have you always been engaged with music, or has that been something that's developed over time as well?
Well, I guess, if we rewind back to college again, I majored in philosophy without much of a plan of like what the career, because when I was in college, it was as if my goal were to be in as many bands as possible.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I tried to, was in bands, and we did a lot of original music.
Yeah.
I wasn't the main songwriter, but so I mean, the music has been a part of my life that brings me joy since I started. I played trumpet, started in middle school. Then when it really started for me was in started playing guitar as a freshman in high school.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it brings me great joy, and here at Aquinas, there have been people I've played with over the years, and as things have turned out, I occasionally get these gigs to.
Yeah. And it should be fun, so as we're thinking and we're talking here is, don't forget, homecoming weekend here at Aquinas, 3 o'clock, under the tent, come on by, and I hear some fantastic music. And that, as we continue to, look at what's happening kind of in the future and around data, what do you think are some things that have changed over time in terms of use of data, or maybe some things that you're excited that we're kind of looking at data in a new way?
Well, it's interesting that your next guest is Bob Wisler.
That is true, yeah.
Our Chief Information Officer, because he and I had a meeting earlier today where we're like, we need to, step up our game a little bit with some of the reportings. I guess, in my experience, there's usually more to do than I have time to do it. And so I have to do the best I can. I don't get to everything. And so sometimes I'm in more survival mode. Yeah. I mean, there's always a bit of an element of that. But I think we're maybe coming out of, at least for me personally, some of the more the challenging survival mode eras of my employment here, and maybe have some capacity to make some gains. And so,
because institutional research as well is also our reporting to HLC, iPads, like there's a number of reports. So again, like we thank you immensely for your time.
I'm happy to do it. I'm on my 28th year here, I think, and I really consider Aquinas a home. I like the people here. Yeah. And so I'm just try to do my best to help out.
Excellent. So our next segment of the show is exciting for our guest as well, because we get to talk about your pets. So Biscuit's Corner is an opportunity for us to showcase our guest's pets. So we have, I think, 3 pictures here. You want to tell us who's in the picture that'll pop up here?
Sure.
Yeah.
This is Nina.
Okay.
Nina is our dog. She was a pandemic puppy. We got her in 2020. She was a rescue from Alabama. She was rescued with her mom and 3 siblings, and we've gotten together with the siblings a few times. It's kind of fun to see them because there's 3 dogs that look like each other running around. We had her tested. Turns out she's half pit, half poodle.
Oh, okay.
Ends up looking like an Irish wolfhound. We get stopped quite a bit by, she's smaller than an Irish wolfhound, but a lot of times people stop and say, is that an Irish wolfhound? So,
interesting.
Yeah.
So pandemic puppy that's obviously clearly become a key part of your family.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. She keeps us in shape. She needs a lot of walks.
Yeah.
Or she requests a lot of walks.
Fair, yeah.
And I think we oblige in part because we know it's good for us to get our steps in.
Excellent.
And she's kind of a kook, but brings a lot of joy to our lives.
Excellent. So as we talk a little more about getting to know Thad, we have our rapid fire questions. So I'm going to ask you some random questions. You don't think too much about it, and then we're going to go through these 3 or 4 or 5. Don't think too hard.
All right.
Are we ready?
Sure.
What's your favorite cookie?
Chocolate chip.
Okay. Your favorite ice cream?
Moose Tracks.
Your favorite cheese?
Asiago.
Okay. Do you prefer gloves or mittens?
Gloves.
Ooh, you're pretty quick on that. Like not mittens at all? No?
Well, I mean, if in an extremely cold situation, sometimes mittens can be a little warmer, but I like having my fingers to be able to move independently.
Okay. If you were to have to leave in a half an hour, and I gave you a voucher at the airport, but you need to leave in a half an hour and you could go anywhere, where would you go?
Maybe New York City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. And our last one, your favorite instrument to play?
It's probably got to be the guitar.
Comes back to the guitar. Yeah.
Yes.
And actually, I lied. I'll say one more.
Okay.
If you could pick up a new instrument to play, what would you be interested in learning?
Maybe a woodwind.
Okay.
So, I don't know which one. I recently thought that I enjoy the bass clarinet a lot.
Okay.
So we'll see a bass clarinet.
Okay, fair. That's awesome. Well, Thad, thank you so much for joining the show. It's been great. And we'll be back, as Thad mentioned. We're excited to welcome our next guest to talk more things, diving into a little bit of IT here at Aquinas. So we'll be right back and see you soon. Welcome back to Tuesdays with Terry. We have our second guest for today, Bob Wisler. Thanks for joining us, Bob.
It's great to be here.
So one of the things, obviously, with your role, Chief Information Officer, and our previous guest mentioned, you have a lot of experience and a lot of time in diving into data, but it's also not just data, it's also equipment and managing security. And when you think about IT at Aquinas, like what's been some of the biggest things in, say, the last year that the office and you have been really working on?
Well, security is always going to be a thing.
Yep.
We just installed Proofpoint, which is a spam filter. And so my favorite report was Aquinas got 1 million emails and the spam filter blocked over 500,000 of those emails. So even a school our size. And so security is obviously number one, and just making sure classrooms are working and updating the technology.
And, one of the things too is always be smart. And I know one of the things that I always try to catch too is there's some phishing emails that can go out. And really the goal of that is to really try to keep people on their toes, because they'll get more and more creative each time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bad guys are getting smarter and trickier, and so our phishing testing has gotten trickier as well.
And as we kind of you can tell you're excited about IT and IT related things. We've talked a lot about this. Now, has that always been the case? And what brought you to Aquinas? What's your path that brought you here, Bob?
Well, I've been in higher ed for almost 30 years, which is hard to believe. And so my first introduction to higher ed was actually teaching, adjuncting for how to buy a PC or Windows 95, so that kind of dates it. And by teaching, when their IT director job opened up, I already had a little bit of experience.
Yep.
And so I've been at total, this is my fifth school that I've been at. During COVID, took a little detour down to southern Indiana while living in Grand Rapids. And so when the job opened here, 20-minute drive is much better than a 6-hour drive.
Very true. Very true. And as you're kind of throughout those 30 years, we'll say, what kind of how have you navigated kind of your interest and your specialties? How has that changed over time, or has it?
I think that one of the things that is unique with the CIO role is that you're really touching every part of the campus. And so whether it's financial aid or admissions or faculty, classrooms, it's really a little bit of everything. And so that really has made it really easy to jump into projects like new building projects or any type of architect or redesigning spaces. And so that's been very fun for me. So it's every day is different.
Yeah. Oh, and I think that's the piece of as well, why I enjoy higher ed so much too, is each day is different and there's always something new, and things change, and each year a new class joins us. And, when you think IT as well, are there anything kind of exciting on the horizon that may be coming up that you could kind of maybe give a little preview to our viewers?
Well, we are looking at upgrading some of our technology. I think that our classrooms need some love, and some of our faculty need some love. And so I see some technology upgrades coming soon. AI, how can we have this conversation without talking with AI and the right use of AI? And so I think that that's going to change how we all do our job one way or another. And so how do you manage that in the right way?
Yeah, and I think we've had many conversations at the cabinet level amongst us too as well about how do we critically look at AI and the role of, educating our students, but also educating, our employees around the use, impact. I mean, there's a whole lot that comes into that conversation. Now, also, you've also kind of taken on an exciting role as well, contributing your knowledge and your passion to esports. So, I may be involved in this in the assistant coach of esports, but where did that love of kind of gaming come from? Or has that been around for a while as well?
I have been a gamer for a long time. And so if you saw my license plate, Wise Guy, that has been my gaming handle since the 80s. Okay. And so I've always had, I've always tinkered with it. I'm not very good at the controls. Once there was no PC or mouse, it got a little tougher. But that really sparked the interest. One of the schools that I was at, we started an esports program from the ground up, has become very successful. And so I left there before it was completely done. And so the fact that we're starting to really get ours fired up again is exciting so that we can see it through.
And I think the move to third floor of AB is exciting. I see the room is coming together. And, I encourage folks, when you're out and about, to potentially stop by and see the room, but also talk to Lonnie as well. Yes. Lonnie Keller as well, great last name.
Right.
And, as our esports coach, and it's not just for our team members. And I know we're working with Student Life and some other folks to really maximize that space.
Yes, Lonnie's going to do great. He is already very invested. We really want to see how we can make this not only for the team members itself, but how do we have like open game nights? How do we open it up to other people who are just interested in participating in some way? So it's really a combination of a sport and a club, and so it's going to be a neat change. And we're trying to make that room just fantastic. We've got 6 brand new gaming computers, and so that was a needed upgrade. We've got a competition stage in that room, and so it's exciting.
Excellent. And so if you go back to those early days of Bob Wisler gaming, what was the go-to, or what were the go-tos, if you will, in terms of games?
I would say Unreal Tournament.
Okay.
Is probably the number one. Half-Life and Descent, which is kind of a 3D mining game, which was the first time I ever played a game that you also went vertical, horizontal.
Okay.
And so still fond memories of those.
Excellent, excellent. So one other thing we do on the show, Bob, is we talk about getting to know you, of course, but also getting to know your pets. So we have some photos coming up, Biscuit's Corner, and I think there's really 3 pets involved here. You may say there's 2 and maybe a half.
Right.
But I'm going to make the leap and say 3. So through the magic of technology, they come up right here. Tell us about your 3 pets.
Yes. So we've always done a lot of rescues. And so the oldest dog that we have now is only about 3 years old, is Remy, and it's mostly an Australian cattle dog.
Okay.
But we did the DNA, and also has 2% wolf
Oh, okay.
and 2% Chihuahua.
Okay.
That was a party. And so just a great dog. Our second one is a Great Pyrenees mix, and so a livestock guardian. We've never had a dog that has shed so much as this, or barked so much, but they, are the best dogs. I would probably have 3 more Great Pyrenees just because of how loving they are.
Excellent.
And then Oliver, the black cat.
Oliver, yeah, okay, Oliver.
We don't know if it's Oliver or Olivia yet. Young cat just showed up, and the cat redistribution program visited our house. But when it had a name, and I'm already buying a outside cat house, so that makes it pretty much a pet.
I would agree. Well, so do the 2 dogs get along? With the
2
cat?
dogs, not the cat.
Not the cat, no.
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. In due time.
Maybe so. We have not even been able to touch the cat ourselves yet.
Okay. So it's a process.
It's a process.
Yeah,
it's
excellent.
a process.
So the other piece of our show is some rapid fire questions to get to know you. So
here we go.
Again, don't think about it. Just respond. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
What's your favorite pizza?
Pizza, thin crust, pepperoni and mushroom.
Okay. Were you thinking about that one coming?
No.
Okay. Well, you know your favorite. What's your favorite cheese?
Swiss.
Okay. Excuse me. Your favorite ice cream?
It would be Michigan Pothole.
Okay.
Which is chocolate with caramel chunks and Oreos and cookie dough.
Okay.
It's not good for you.
Oh, but it tastes good.
It tastes great.
It tastes great. What is your favorite personal technology device you have?
I would say it's through the phone, but it's the smart home feature. So I can say, "Hi Google, please put my blinds up," or "Open the garage door," and so that's pretty cool.
My favorite question to ask you, and I've been waiting for this: Apple or PC?
Personally, it's PC and Android, and so I'm an outcast in my family. Everyone else is Apple. I actually did have an iPhone for about 12 hours and said I would never touch one again. Okay. I tried.
Okay, and we banter on this all the time, so I had to ask it.
Of course.
So if I gave you a voucher right now, Bob, and you had to leave in a half an hour from the airport, you could go anywhere. Where would you go?
I would go to Switzerland.
Okay.
So it turns out that both sides of my family actually have Swiss roots.
Okay.
And so it would be neat to go. My mother's maiden name was Neuenschwander. And so very, very Swiss. And my dad thought he was German, but when I went back, he was Swiss too.
Yeah, excellent. And gloves or mittens?
Mittens only for snow blowing. Every other time it's gloves.
Oh, so you're one of the first guests to really have a specific task for a mitten
And that's the only time I wear them,
for snow blowing.
for snow blowing.
And we had to do a lot of snow blowing this last
Yes,
winter.
we did.
Excellent. So, Bob, I appreciate this. This is a lot of fun getting to know you, having you on the show. And, we appreciate you being part of the Aquinas community, a part of Cabinet, and really continuing, our movement in technology here at Aquinas. So thank you, Bob.
It's great being here. Thank
Excellent. So, again, another great episode of Tuesdays with Terry. We continue to book guests throughout this semester. We'd love to have you on the show to share all things Aquinas, which we do and enjoy doing. And one of the things, please reach out, contact us here at the email address provided, and we'll get you on the schedule to be on the show soon. So multiple episodes coming up, lots of variety happening. And again, thank you for joining Tuesdays with Terry, and see you next time.